So what we're now doing is using much better testing technology and to deliver much better insight, and also looking at it on an ongoing monitoring basis, and then just actually giving people the actions they need to take to improve their well-being, and then tracking them, providing them accountability, incentivizing them, rewarding them, and the healthcare outcomes at the back of that are heaps better.
So how does that work then? So are we talking about wearable technology that can give that ongoing monitoring?
Wearables is certainly coming into it a lot more, because it's so much more accessible. Everybody these days has probably got some form of wearable, whether they know it or not. And so you can tap into those things such as Whoop. Aura rings are really good. We're getting good quality HRV data. We can actually see whether people are getting stressed, overworked, and then we can make adjustments accordingly. You can do obviously sleep tracking. I mean, one of the key things, or the easiest things to do in any wellbeing program, is look at sleep and hydration. You get those two things right in any workplace, you're going to improve wellbeing massively. And most people don't look at those. I thought
that's the thing. I've never heard. I've heard of that, but never heard of it. The correlation to work, it makes absolute sense. But it's around. You don't, HR or whatever wouldn't necessarily, how are you sleeping or whatever. And actually, like you said, the output of caring about those two key sort of indicators is huge, isn't it?
Yeah. You've got to build a real environment of trust, first of all, because as a manager, think how good you would be able to be if you were able to actually see how people were sleeping and then speak to them, say, how can we help you as an employee? But to start with, you've got to get away from the issues where the employee is like, I don't trust you with my data. If you can get over that and people say, actually, it benefits me for you to see my data, or for the well-being champion within the organization to see the data, then all of a sudden it's like you're taking the brakes off to really improving people's health.
Creating transparency. How are businesses achieving that? How are they getting their people to be open with that type of data?
I think everything starts with culture to begin with.
Okay.
So if you've got to work on building that culture of trust, and you can't do that on, just literally getting everyone together, having a great away day and everyone being like, yeah, let's go, we all trust each other. It's only going to come over time. And it's like any form of trust, it takes a long time to build, and you will break it with a second, in one action. So there's no quick answer to that. It's literally about getting your culture right, making sure everyone's bought behind the same mission, and seeing those little things, those like 1% marginal gains, which most people would consider sleeping well as, even though actually I'd consider it as a big gain. How those 1% gains make the organisation.
I'm failing on hydration and sleep.
To do it. I was going to say,
I'm sure it's not showing.
You could probably see it quite quickly if people that have had a baby, for example, young family, things like that. Because sleep straight away, I remember, it's only just in the last year that my son started to actually sleep through. I could argue that my performance hasn't been too bad, but still the brain fog and things like that. And I did actually listen to someone that said, if you think about how long humans have been on the planet, millions of years, if sleep wasn't important, we'd have evolved to not need it, or need as much of it in a 24-hour cycle.
There's a few people that genetically don't need as much, and they can get away with about 4, but the majority of humans need somewhere between 7 and 8 hours sleep. And there's actually a massive study that's done every year where and it's when the clocks go forward an hour, so we lose 1 hour sleep. Every time that happens, the incidence rate of heart conditions goes up the next day. Literally, heart attacks goes up the next day.
Seen that,
by I think about 23%. And then the reverse happens when the clocks go back, so we get an extra hour's sleep. It goes the opposite way by 23%. So you can't get any better proof in terms of a study than that.
Brilliant data. We need to dig that data out. That's brilliant. I love that.